Hello everyone, Debbie here. Welcome back to Barossa Valley Crafts. Today we're going to be blending some inks. We're going to be making some backgrounds. Here's some that I've just been playing around with and trying some different things. But what we're going to do is make these circles, make these sort of colours, and we're going to blend them together a bit and then stamp them. And when we finish that, we're going to do the bokeh effect type thing, but easy to do. Now you can do this two ways. You can just use your normal black ink to stamp, or you can use the black embossing powder. But if you don't have the black embossing powder, you can just, as I said, stamp them. And that's all we're going to be doing today, is just stamping, not embossing. But let me show you how I have done that. So, and then there's also this one, which was another way I did of blending the inks, just mucking around, and I'll show you how to do that as well and how that will look stamped up. So I'm going to be using Distress Oxides. They're really good for blending and that sort of thing with. So to start off with, I'm using Barn Door. Now, you don't have to use these particular inks or these colours. It's more to show you the technique and how you can make things look using any inks. So I'm just going to randomly blend some patches of each colour. Now, it's up to you how dark you want the colours, whether you want them bright or light, just a personal preference. So that was the Barn Door. Now I'm going to use Salty Ocean. I use these brushes when I'm doing it because I find they're nice and soft and they make it easy to blend the colours as well. I use one brush for each colour. Some people use it in families, like they'll have one for blues, one for yellows, etc. But I just like to have one brush for each colour. Okay, so that's that one. Then I'm going to go to Fossilised Amber. So when you're doing these, don't leave any white in between. You want to have them all joining if you can. And I mean, you're going to get colour variations as you join them up as well, which is fine. I'll just do one down here. Like I say, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just doing it randomly. Okay, so now I'm going to go with Seedless Preserves. Now, I always just dab a bit off on the paper first, just to get rid of that massive lot, so when I put it on, I don't get a great big dark blob. But again, with this technique, it really wouldn't matter that much. I know I've gone the colour there, but I'll just blend a bit more over the top. And the last one I've got here is Twisted Citron. So I'll just pop some on there. Oh, this is a very juicy one. I haven't used this much. It's fairly new. I'll just pop some of that around. Then we're just going to blend again where I've already done it, just to make sure there's no white patches. So you'll end up with something like that. I'll just, where's the purple? I'll just do a bit more here. Here we go. Now I'm just going to use my heat gun. Just need to dry that off before we go to the next step. So I'll just dry that off. While I'm doing this, I'll just let you know that I do have a Facebook group called Cardmaking for Beginners and Beyond. I'll add the link in the description, and if you'd like to join, you're more than welcome. You come and share your creations with like-minded people. Okay. Hopefully that's dry enough. Now for the stamping today, I'm going to be using some Lavinia stamps. So I'm just going to get another piece of my paper and fold that in half. Because I'm going to use my stamp press for this. But I'm also going to be using this, so I probably won't, I don't want ink to go all over the stamp press. Yeah. The stamps I'm going to use today is Meadow Grass, which is LAV 387. Now, you don't have to use these stamps. Again, you can use whatever stamps you like. So I'll just place that on there. And for the stamping, I'm going to be using VersaFine Clear. This is a brilliant ink when you're stamping. And I'll just pick up my stamp and I'll ink it up. Now, if you don't have a stamp press, you can do this freehand. But I do like the stamp press in case I don't stamp it properly. You know you can then stamp again on exactly the same spot. I'm just going to move that along and do another lot here. Okay, and I'll just ink that up again. Now, as I said, if you want to, you can do this with embossing, like your heat embossing. But I'm just going to use the inks today. And that on there. Okay, so that's that done. Just pop that out of the way. And now up the top here, I've got the ducks, which is LAV 247. Just going to pop some little ducks flying over the top. Let me make sure I get them the right way. Don't want them flying upside down. Oh no, gee, there we go. So they're flying that way. I think that's the way I've got them. They're just, it's a bit hard to, hang on. Gee, I've got to make sure now. It's very hard to tell. Yeah, that's it. I was right. Okay, so we'll just ink those up. And then stamp pen. Now, as I said, you don't have to use these particular stamps. You can use any stamp you like to do this. So now what I'm going to do, I've got this stencil full of circles. And I'm using white pan pastel for this part. But if you've got a white ink, you can use white ink. Totally up to you what you want to do. So I'm just going to pop my stencil on here and just putting my finger into the pan pastel, and I'm just going to make some white orbs, just randomly placing them around. Now again, these can be as dark or as light as you like. And you can do them all different sizes. So I'll just lift that off and have a look. Okay, I'll put a big one down here. I'll pop one up here. I'll do it off the centre, so it's not perfect. A bit of a blob there, but that doesn't really matter. You can then go over them again to soften them if you like. And it's up to you how many you add. I'll do a couple more. Do some smaller ones over here. I'll just use up what's on my finger. And that's about it. So that's that. And then I'm just going to go around the edge with VersaFine Clear Twilight, just to sort of give it a bit of an edge and bring it in a bit. So we'll just do that all the way around the edge. And then you can mount these then onto your base card, but I'm not doing that today. I'm just basically showing you an idea that you can do to create a card. Now with this, you can do it for men, women, children, and actually it'd be a nice men's card. As often we find it hard to do cards for men. Okay, so there's that. And then you can add other things to it. So I've got some stickles here. I'm just going to add some little bits of glittery spots. Hopefully the camera's picking those up a bit. And that's it. So easy. That's taken about, what, 12 minutes to do that. So there's that. Now I'm going to show you another one that I found when I was just mucking around with my stuff. So I'm going to use the same inks. Just going to take the lids off. Now I've got some little Lavinia brushes here. So I'm going to put red on one and then blue on another one, and the, what's this one, the fossilized amber on another one, and twisted citron on another one, and then seedless preserves on another one. I'm just going to put all my brushes together in a little group. Just give it a pounce. And then I'm just going to blend it all over the card. Like so. Now I might have to put some more ink on them again. So there's my red one, blue, yellow, citron, and seedless preserves. And again, I'll just put them together. And here we go again. So again, you can use any colours you like. You don't have to use the same colours I'm using. That's it. Just for a completely different ink sort of background. So I'm going to use the same stamps that I just used for the other one. I might do it this way. I'll do it a different way. So I'll pop some birds up in the corner. And again, we'll just ink them up with the Nocturne. Okay. Yeah, where did I put? Okay, we'll use, like I said, we'll just use the same one to make it easier. And again, we'll ink that one up. So it's just another couple of ways you can blend inks for different effects, different outcomes, and you could do lots and lots of these and you will end up with different results every time. which is always a good thing. Okay, and another stamp here. I do like these stamping platforms. This one's a Couture Creations one. This is actually the one I use the most these days. It's just so easy to use. And you're not limited, like some of them have got a ridge on them. So you're really limited with them. I'm just going to have to move this so I don't get ink on my board. You get really limited with some of them because of the edging in trying to make them fit. But because this doesn't have any like raised edges, it makes it so much better to use. Okay. There we go. So there's that. And we'll do the bouquet again. So I'll just, actually if I just pop it on there. Actually I'll just do them randomly again. I was going to try and do a pattern, but it's probably easier to do them randomly. So I'll just do that around. Different sizes. Now the one thing you need, because we're using the chalk, it will rub off. So you need to use a sealer when you're finished to seal the chalk so that it doesn't rub off at all. There we go. I'll do another one there. That's probably enough. Okay, and again, I've just got some splodges there, which won't matter. We can blend them in to make it look like a bit, actually, let's make it look like it's a bit foggy, or actually, let me try that. I can make it look a bit misty and foggy sort of thing. There we go. So it looks like they're in a bit of a foggy mist. Now, again, I'll just go around with the twilight around the edge. So again, you can do as much or as little of this as you like. You don't want it too dark, but just to give it a bit of a edge really. And it draws the eye to the centre. Okay. So there we go. That's that. And again, we can add some little glittery bits. Give it a bit of a sparkle. Just do some random lines. Okay, so there we go. How easy are they? So quick and easy. And I did some the other day as well, but instead of doing the circles, I did like a northern light. So instead of going round, I just did strips of colour. So that's another way you could do it, but that's that one. Easy to do. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, please do give me the thumbs up. And do subscribe if you'd like to be notified as more tutorials are done. I aim to do them every Friday when time permits. And sometimes I'll put in an extra every now and then. I might just pounce that glitter down a bit. There we go, that's better. Different effect again. And that's it. So thank you for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you in the Facebook group. See you later. Bye.